Hello, all. Today, what I want to do is just spend a couple minutes talking about small groups and talking about how can we make a more calm environment where students are a little bit more on task. And I want to start off with a little bit of a story talking about this. It was a couple of weeks back. I was in a school walking through a couple different classrooms, working with some teachers that I've been working with for a while, and we were in small group activity time. And as I was walking around, kind of just trying to be a wallflower, not doing too much, just observing some of the small group activity, I noticed that there were a number of students that were kind of just like fidgety, a number of students that were kind of just making random sounds as they were doing work. So they should be off doing their independent work or possibly doing some partner work. But what we found is that some of these students here were just kind of making again random sounds and random noises as we're doing here. And if you've been an educator for a while, you can probably picture some of these noises we're talking about with some of these students is when they're away from the teacher, they tend to kind of get a little bit rambunctious with this piece. And some of the students were again a little fidgety with that piece. And after that observation, I went to those couple teachers and said, "Hey, you might want to try something we've seen work in the past, something I've seen work a number of times, and I would say honestly, like 7 or 8 out of 10 times I've shown this to educators, it works." Almost immediately. And thinking about this, if we play some kind of quiet music in the background without words, quiet music doesn't necessarily have to be classical music, but just music that doesn't have sound doesn't have words in the background, very often what we find is that if I'm playing that where everyone in the room can hear it, not super loud, but everyone can hear it, we find those little sounds, those little distractions tend to go away. And I don't really have a psychological reason for it, but I've seen it work a number of times. It's of course not my idea. Of course, teachers have been doing this for years. But one thing that I think might be the reason for is some of these students have a real hard time with like silence or like lulls in conversation. And when they hear silence, they kind of even unconsciously, subconsciously, they think, hey, I need to go ahead and just make some noises just to fill sound. So what often happens is if I'm playing some music in the background, those little sounds, those little fidgets tend to go away. Now, I'm not going to guarantee that's going to work for you, but if you're having a tough time with kids kind of not staying on task, kids kind of making random sounds, kids kind of talking a little bit more than you want to, try just some quiet music in the background during small groups. When kids, it's okay to have some conversation. We want to have students talking in small groups, but we don't want to have all the random little noises kids make and all the random little things. And sometimes even like a chair squeaking will distract an entire class if there's no sound in the background. If there's sound in the background, a chair squeaking becomes less of an issue, becomes less of a distraction. So give that a shot. Let me know how that works. Again, it's a quick little simple fix. I'm definitely not the first person to think of it. I've seen many teachers do it, and that's why I want to share it with you. You may have even heard it before, and thinking about that, you may have even used it before, but it's been a while and you kind of forgot to use to do that too. So definitely try just playing a little bit of music in the background and see how that works for you. All right. Thanks all. Have a good one.